It's really funny when you think back to my fear with airplanes. Like, do I really want control of that airplane? Absolutely not. And if you're sitting with me, you definitely don't want me to have control of that airplane either. I have no resume, I have no skills, I have no training, I have nothing that would put me in that cockpit with any chance of actually flying that plane. And it's funny when we think about it that way because it stems from a lack of control. Yet so often in our own lives, we do the same thing. Our own lives we look at as like, hey, I want to be in control when we have no resume, when we have no skills or training that puts us in control of our own life. God is in control. We really don't want to be. God has always been, and he is, and he always will be, and his resume is unmatched. And see, if you've been in church for any amount of time, you've probably heard things like this before. You've heard things like you have to surrender, you have to give him control, his way is better. So then why do we always go back? Why do we always go back to worry, go back to fear, and give in to anxiety? Because our human nature is to go back to us being in control. We want to pilot our own plane like somehow we were actually equipped to do that. That's not your weight to carry. That's not your responsibility. That's not your load to bear. You see, we let logic run our brain, and we carry the worries like we can somehow fix them ourselves. So if you're here today and you feel like you're bound up by worry and by fear, and you're stressed and you're anxious, I would encourage you just to lay those things down. So I got Aaron, if you would, go ahead and bring that up here to me. I got a little illustration. So as I was prepping this week, I saw this really incredible illustration that like made my mind, it clicked for me. Thanks, man. So I have this illustration for you. So oftentimes when we come into church, we come in carrying a pretty big box full of worries. And I don't know what those worries are for you, but you think about it. We come into the box, we come in carrying our box full of worries. We got things like, I'm moving from this city or that city. I've got this big evaluation at work coming up. I know I have to have this conversation with this one family member or this one person that I really don't want to have, but I know I need to, so I'm going to put that worry in the box. I've got this bill that I know I have to pay. It's coming down the line. I'm going to put that worry in the box. I still don't have that job or a job. I'm going to put that worry in the box. I'm still single. I'm going to put that worry in the box. Right? We have a lot of worries that we bring in, that we carry in our boxes. A lot of worries. Right? These worries, these are the ones that like keep you up at night. These are the ones that cause you to be anxious. But you know what? In a moment, you come to church and you hear a message when you hear Jesus saying, hey, trade me your burdens. My way is easy, my burdens are light. Right? We hear those things and we hear about this great exchange that Jesus did for us. And we say, you know what? Okay, cool. I got my little God box here. I'm just going to take my worries. I'm going to put that one in there. Oh, my singleness, I'm going to put it and I'm going to give it to you, God. Oh, my job, I'm going to take that. I'm going to give it to you, God. My moving, I'm going to take that. I'm going to give it to you. My new friend group, I'm going to put that in there for you, God. Right? We begin to take our worries one by one and we put them at the feet of Jesus. And we say, God, I give it to you. Take it. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. And then once you know it, we give it a couple days, we give it a couple weeks. As we're laying in bed, those worries begin to creep back in. And you say, you know what, God, I prayed for that for 2 whole days. I prayed for that for a whole week, a whole month, a whole year. I prayed for it. And obviously you can't handle it. So you know what? I'm going to take it back. And so we take it and we put it back into our worry box. And we take it and we put it back into our worry box. Because God, maybe you're too busy. I don't know what it is. I've been praying and nothing's happening. Anybody else ever felt this? I know I have. Why do we do this? In the middle of the night, we begin to say, God, you know what? You just can't handle it. I got it. This is where it all began to make sense. Because so often our worry box is so big and our God box is so small. When actually, if you just figured out that God is actually bigger than any of the worries you could carry, you could dump every single worry in there and God would still be bigger. And not even that. You can not only cast all of your worries, all of your fears, all of your anxieties, you put your whole life in that box. You say, God, I'm giving you everything. I'm putting my full trust in you. I don't have to worry about these things because you said you've already taken it. All right, 1 Peter tells us to cast all of your anxieties on him because he cares for you. So honestly, I think we have to just ask ourselves, don't we think it's just time to get a bigger God? He's God of the universe. He's big enough for any of your worries, any of your fears, any of your anxieties, but you have to trust in him. See, the story of Daniel shows us how to tackle worry, fear, and anxiety. Because Daniel wasn't just bringing those worries, those fears, those anxieties. He was taking his entire life. He was taking all of his being. He was taking everything to God, and he says, here, this is yours. So as I invite the band back up, I just want us to think about this. Daniel chooses to respond in trust. Daniel chose to respond in trust, and not like some halfway trust where, hey, I put the worries in the box, then I'm going to take them out because I think I know better. Like Daniel puts full trust into the only one, God, who can carry him in the highs and the lows. You see, Daniel's hope for that day, Daniel's hope for that season, Daniel's hope for his everything didn't waver whenever there was worries or fears that showed up. Because his full trust wasn't in himself. Daniel wasn't looking to control everything about his life. He was resting his hope, he was resting his trust in Jesus.